Hi everyone, this is Tamir Tabassum. I'm a doctoral student at the University of Florida and I work in the broader domain of hardware security. So naturally, when I saw a paper on fuzzing, it immediately caught my attention because it's very close enough to my research that I wanted to understand what they're doing differently. So this paper is titled after Stateful Embedded Fuzzing with Peripheral Accurate System C Virtual Prototypes. So this paper starts from a simple observation that firmware doesn't just process inputs, it interacts with hardware. So if your simulator doesn't model that hardware realistically, your fuzzer may end up finding bugs that wouldn't exist on a real device. So their idea is to sort of inject fuzzed inputs through realistic peripheral models instead of simply inventing register values. So that lets interrupts and peripheral behavior happen naturally, making the execution much closer to real hardware. So in the other way of saying it is that they sort of like stopped gaslighting the firmware. So they tested their framework on drone and robot firmware as well as some Zephyr application, if I'm saying that correctly. So what stood out to me, the fact that they just didn't found bugs. It was the fact that they reduced false positives compared to existing approaches. So personally, I would much rather investigate one real bug than 50 imaginary ones. So my main takeaway from this paper is that, especially in hardware security, better attacks or better fuzzing inputs aren't enough if the hardware model itself isn't realistic. One thing I would like to point out or I would like to see is how well this method works or scales to larger SoCs, more realistic ones with multiple processor and many interacting peripherals. But overall, I thought this is a pretty decent paper. They made a convincing argument that improving the hardware model can be just as important as improving the fuzzer itself. So yeah, with that concludes my presentation for this 2-minute video contest and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.